guys, it's Maymay and welcome back to part 3, I do believe, of our wedding journal that we covered in fabric. Today, we work on pages. Now, if you were with me in the live I did the other day, I showed you some ideas I had for these pages, and let me show you what that looks like. I just kind of designed this little book to keep up with my page ideas so I could use them over and over again. And I designed 3 different ones that I'm going to do today. But I have also been trying to decide exactly what I want to do in the album. And let me explain to you what the deal is. So this little set of pages right here, which is just the plain pages, they don't flip or flap or have pockets. I can get 10 4x6 photos on them if I put one photo. That's a lot of photos, you guys. I know it may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot, okay? I think I have a little room to play with some of these pages, and this is where you can learn from my mistake. It's not really a mistake. We're just going to use it to our advantage. I think I'm going to combine these pages and make a pocket or 2. So if I take out 4 of these pages, let me pick which ones I want. Matter of fact, I'm going to move the album aside because we don't need it right now. If I take out 4 of these pages, and I'm going to take out the ones I like the least because of what I'm going to do. I love this full sheet here. That one's really pretty. This is pretty, so I can use that as a base. Believe it or not, I really like this part, but I don't love this part. I don't like how this turned out, so I think that'll be part that I use. And I love this, but I also don't love this, right? So maybe this is how I do this, okay? These pages are pretty, so we'll leave those as they are. Now, what I'm going to do to combine these pages is I'm going to turn them into a pocket page, okay? So here's my plan. So on the front of this page, this is the one I said I do like. So I'm going to lay that one down like this. And this is the one I said I didn't like. So I'm going to bring it over here like this. So I'm going to make a pocket on these back sides, combining pages. Okay. So I want to pick the side I want to be the front of this. And I really like this floral. I think this floral would be really pretty here, except this is too pale for the plan that I have. And, I'll show you what I mean in just a second. I know it's not making a lot of sense right now, but it will in a second. Hang on. So I think I'll go with this one. We'll come back and do this one second. So the idea is I'm going to use this to create a pocket here. My initial thought was instead of cutting this away, I would stack this on top of each other and glue it, and I would cut away from here and then flip this over to show as kind of a trim on the pocket. I'm going to do that here, and if I don't love it, I'll change it on the next one. So let's get the trimmer out. Now, the reason I say learn from my mistake is if I'd thought of this ahead of time, I would have just made these pages and not had this paper in places I'm not going to get to use it, but it's okay. This is still going to be really pretty. All right, so I'm going to cut, do I want an inch? I don't want a whole lot, and I'll show you why. I want to still be able to have a photo here. Do you see that? So, or something on this page. I'm not sure what yet, but I want something on this page. So I think an inch is going to be about what I'm going to work with here. So I've got this lined up to an inch in my trimmer. I'm going to double check that because I looked away. There we go. And I'm going to cut away. Don't panic. It's all right. It's just cardstock. Okay, so there's the piece I cut away. And the plan is to flip this over and let it be trim, and I think I'll do it in this manner, yeah, like this, and let that be trim along the edge of the page, and then glue this down on 3 sides, and see, that's pretty, right? Like, that's going to be pretty, and I now have a pocket, or will once we glue it together. So let's assemble it. Did I lose some cardstock under there? Yes, but fortunately, I didn't like this anyway, so I'm okay with losing that for the afterthought. So how are we going to glue it? So I'm going to take art glitter glue, and I'm going to take advantage of this whole area right here to glue the bottom. Then along the side, I'm going to glue right along the edge where my cardstock ends. That's because it's not flush here, because with the cardstock, it puts a little bit of a dimension. So I'm going to put this glue right on that line, and that is plenty big enough of a pocket for our page here. And then this, I'm going to line up even with the holes along the side and turn it into one pocket page. Now, do I already have pieces in here I could do this with? Yes, there were pieces that came in the paper or in the album that we could have turned it, that already had the ability to do a pocket super quick, but this is hindsight. So next time I'll plan out ahead of time, but this time I didn't. And I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I don't want you to ever panic and be like, oh, I messed up. Now I have to do what I was doing. No, we can always make a change. So this is now going to be a pocket. It might be a little bit of something I need to pinch just to kind of lift that up a little bit because it's kind of thick there. And then this guy I'm going to glue down in this manner. So it's almost like we folded it back. Now you might be like, Maymay, why didn't you just fold it back? I didn't want the paper cracking. I thought it would be prettier if I went ahead and sliced it and had a smooth edge. Then I know the paper would have cracked because this page from the book is pretty thick. And so I certainly didn't want that to happen. All right, this I'm going to glue straight down right to the edge of that pocket. And I love how that looks. And now I have a place. I actually like how thick and rich that feels. I have a place to add something cute, something journaly or something like that can go inside of here. And I think that'll be cute. So instead of all of those areas for pictures, I've just kind of edited it down and I can still put one here and see that's pretty too. If I want to add a photo, whatever, we'll come back to that. I could just put a pretty little cut apart here too. All right, so there's that one. Let's do the other one. So with this guy, same thing. I like this as the whole page. I want to turn this into the pocket. So let's pick a page to do that with. I think I'm going to use this page because this pattern can go in either direction and so it's going to work and so can this one. So I'm going to do the same thing again, 1 inch off and make it a pocket page. What I'm doing here is seeing which layout I want. This feels a little pale to me. I don't love that. Let's try the other side. If I flip this guy over like this and then flip this guy like this, that feels a little better. I actually like the movement inside there. So where I didn't love that, now I like it. And it'll be really pretty when we get all our pretties added to it. Now, seeing as I've never done something like this before, I've never gone back and edited in this way after the fact. I want you to tell me in the comments, are you willing to do this kind of thing too? Are you willing to go back and make a change? Even though we've lost, you know, that much cardstock, that's all we really lost, you know, on the inside of here, on both sides. But still, are you willing to do that or does it make you nervous? Might even be pretty to do that. I kind of like it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it the other way though. So it can be 2 colors. I'll be honest, I really like how rich and thick that is. Look at that thickness right there. That's nice because over time, it'll hold up really nice, you know. All right, so we edited down 2 pages. We end up with this. All right, so I shuffled them in, and now we'll look. This is what we get. We get this. We get this. We get this. And we get this. And I think that's cool. I think we'll be able to use that in our album. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these in. And that takes up a little bit of our space. All right. For these guys, honestly, this is such a great place just to add photos. We're going to get so many in here. These pages here, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. This is going to be where we put a lot of photos. This little guy right here is going to hold 4 photos in 4x6. And remember, this is a wedding album. So this is you're going to have more of those larger images or larger pictures than you would normally. So I'm okay with that. So that's what we're going to put in here. We're going to use this for these larger pieces. And some of them will go here, but I'll have those pockets to do some smaller things too. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. I'm just going to put photo mats on those. What goes in the pocket we'll get to because we're going to do that with some cut aparts. But what I want to do now is work on those pages that we talked about in the live stream the other day. If you saw that live stream, and a lot of you did, a lot of you guys saw it because of, you know, how many people watched it. I think you're going to love doing these pages. So let's go like this. So this is the page I decided to turn into a slider page. And if you remember, this is what the slider card looked like. We did this one on a live, and it's the little slider mechanism that comes off, and then this opens as a gatefold. I think this is super cute, and I wanted to put this into an album. And actually, I want this to be what you see when you first open the album. So to make this happen using this piece from the book, I don't want to waste it, and I don't want to use it like this. So what I'm going to do is cut this top away. Now, when I cut these, I cut that score mark away. So you can see that big score mark showing there. We'll put that where you can see it. There's a big kind of chunky score mark. So I'm going to put that right to the other side of my blade so that it cuts away. And I didn't quite get there, so I'm going to scoot. I could feel it catching. It might have caught a little bit more. Yep, I'm gonna have to get a little tiny sliver off of there. That did it much cleaner. I'll clean that up with my scissors a little bit. That score mark, trying to cut where it is, the paper is very, very fibrous there because it's been folded over and over again. And that's why it's giving us a tiny bit of trouble here, but no big deal. We'll go back and trim this one. Now I just take my scissors and clean up any fur, and that will be fine. It's not my blade. I know a lot of you guys are going to go, Maymay, it's your blade. I just changed my blade like in a live show the other day, so it's not my blade. It's just where that thick, thick score mark was and where this was folded over and over again on it. That's all that was. Perfect. Okay. Now then, here's the plan. I want to utilize this piece as my gatefold, okay? But as it sits, it's exactly the right size. So what I need to do is create binding strips. The first thing I want to do is I want to slice this guy in half. So let's see what size he is. He is 6 inches, so let's cut him in half at 3. So there he is in half. And now let's make binder strips that are the same height by 1 inch. And this height, I can measure it really quick, is 8 1/4. So we're going to cut 8 1/4 by 1 inch strips to be the binding strips. These strips, I'm going to score in half at 1/2 inch. By the way, this cardstock matches so well. If you're using this same Graphic 45 album and you want to know what cardstock works, this is Cardabella's, let me see the color of it, natural white. That matches really, really well if you want to find something in your stash to match. If you've been here any length of time with me, you have made binding strips before, and this is how we do it. We fold them in half, crease them down really tight, give them a good crease, and then using your scissors, I'm going to cut from the fold to the open edge on an angle like this to take some of that bulk out. Okay, so again down here, from the fold to the open edge on a little angle, just to get some of the bulk away from the bottom, and we'll do that again on this guy. Now we have our binding strip, so now let's build this guy. Before I do, I want to erase my pencil mark. I gotta show you guys something. These stamp erasers we get from Altenew, they are the greatest erasers for pencil mark. I used it the other day for the first time. I was like, does this work for pencil mark? I got to show you. It literally takes pencil mark as if it was never there, and it does not leave any residue. It's insane. These are the erasers that you prime your stamps with. So if you get a pack of 3, you know, they come in a pack of 3, save 1 or 2 for priming your stamps and 1 for erasing with. Because once they get dirty, you don't want to get that on your stamp. But these guys are amazing for erasing. Okay, just full of tips today, huh? All right, let's glue these on. You can do this with sticky tape or glue because this won't be in the way of anything. I'm just going to glue it down. So with the folded edge along the edge of our little slider piece, let's see, how can I do this where you can see it and I can see it too? We'll do it this way. I'm going to line this up at the edge. We're basically just making like a little paper door. We're just making advantage of the pages that came in the book. I actually think it's a lot of fun to edit the pages that come in the books and just see what you can do because there's so many things and it's half the work done for you. Y'all know I'm big on having the work be done for me. All right, so here's this. We've added our little binder strip. I'm going to do it on the other one as well. So back to our page. These now can be placed or glued on using our binding strips to our page to make our gatefold. Now, I'm going to have to do another little edit, but I wanted to wait till I got to this point because if I can make it happen organically, I will, and it looks like I won't be able to. My thought was I could move this over a bit and not have to trim from the middle. Because I need my slider to have room to move here, these guys can't be this close together. Nothing will be able to slide in there. So what I'm going to do is from the centers, so not where the binding strip is, but from the center, I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of both. That may seem like a lot, but I feel like this is going to be a little bit bulky, and I can always not have to stress as much if I have more space to work with. So with the binding strip on the left-hand side, we'll put this in my trimmer and cut 1/8 of an inch away. And I did that from both. So now we should have a space between the two. So when we place this one back like so, that gives us there. And then when we place this one back, I can move this closer or further away, whichever way I want to do it. And I'll probably move it kind of closer till I have that about 1/8 of an inch here, and it gives me more room here. I really want more room here to be able to open. It's not going to open completely because of the rings, but I want it to be able to open a bit. So this is probably how I'll let this land. And I think I can glue this down. Let's glue this one for sure. If you need something to help guide you, stick one of those strips back in that you cut right beside the little gatefold piece you just put down. And when you place this guy down, you can use that as your guide to get the perfect 1/8 of an inch distance apart if you want to do that. I probably will do that. Seems a little handy. And I think I'll tape it down with some yellow tape so I don't even have to fight it. You do not have to be this precise. You really can eyeball this, but I know a lot of you guys sometimes like to be a little more precise than I am, so I'm trying for you, okay? All right, so glue. Then I'm going to turn this way, and I will lay this right to that piece. Get that in there nice and flush, and then press it down. So now I know I'm nice and square, and I can peel this piece away. Then I will press this down good. The cool thing about using that little strip is I know this is nice and straight in the middle. So now we have this gatefold that we've done like this. Now again, this side's going to open nice and wide. This one's going to stop at the rings. But by coming this way a little further, go into the right a little further, it gives us, like if it goes straight up, it can go like that so we can see in here nicely. All right, let's cover this with decorator cardstock. I think that'll be pretty. Now, before we cut this decorator paper, let's remember we cut some off of this piece, so it's not 3 inches anymore. Now it's 2 7/8. So when I cut this piece, I'm going to cut it 2 5/8 by 8 so that it will mat correctly. Okay, so I got the outside covered and I got the inside covered. Isn't that cute? I decided to wait to do the back until I put it in the book. Maybe I can head myself off from making another mistake, and just in case I want to do something different. But it's time to decide what the slider is going to be. And I'm going to go to stickers first. These stickers are so cute, and some of them are pretty large. I probably have an ephemera pack too laying here somewhere, but I thought I've already opened this pack. Let's just see. I love this little church. Wouldn't that be a cute little slider? Let's take it off of here. We can kind of get an idea for what it'll look like there. The little church to slide up and down. Or, check this one out. I also thought the cake was cute. This pack of presents is really cute. Anything will work. I think the church so far is the largest, but also this. And I'm not going to rule out a cut apart. We're going to look at that too. Wouldn't that be pretty too? Okay, so if you were going to use a sticker, I would just stick it down to cardstock and then I would cut around it to turn it into ephemera. You could use ephemera from a pack, but let's also look at the cut aparts because there could be one that we just really love. Look at that we want to turn into a slider. I don't know. I love these guys. I love cut aparts. They're some of my faves. That one's pretty. All right, let's keep looking. Look, here's the church on a piece, which is pretty. This little car is really, really cute. Okay, so I really like this little guy. I think I want to use this, and I think I'm going to cut it out, like fussy cut it and turn it into the slider. So let me get it off of this page. He'll be the perfect size. Look at that. Want to make a cute little slider? I'm going to fussy cut around it, but I'm going to bubble cut around it. The size of this one is so great for what I need it to be. So I'm just going to do a little bubble cut. That just means I'm not going right to the image. I'm leaving myself a little bit around it. And I'm going to add more cardstock because I'm going to mount this to another piece to make it sturdy. So let me get this guy fussy cut and we'll get right back together. Isn't that adorable? Let's look at it on the page. I think it'd be really cute too if I use my stamp set and do slide up on her little veil so you can see it there. I think that'll be cute. All right, I'm going to glue this down to some brown cardstock. I decided to use brown as my accent. I looked at a lot of greens and I didn't have a green that I loved for this book to be the accent. So we're going to use brown, and therefore I am going to glue this guy down to a piece of brown and then fussy cut around that again to give me kind of that bubble shape. So here's our little piece, which I think is so cute. And I want to show you how we're going to make the slider mechanism. I'm going to use my 2 1/4 inch scallop circle punch. I had to see which one that was, had to read it. And I cut 4. Now, technically, I only need 3 because I can use this as my top layer, but I want this to be super sturdy. So we're going to use 4 to create the mechanism and then glue this onto the mechanism. So here's how it works. You're going to hold 2 aside, okay? You're going to take 2 of them and you just want to fold them in half. So I'm just going to find where this matches up. And I'm going to fold that in half and then crease it down. You want to just fold in half and crease down 2 of them. This is the easiest mechanism. You can literally make this for everything, every project, every situation. It's so easy. I'm not sure I got that one folded just right. Let me edit that a tiny bit if I can. All right, and now what you'll do is you'll take one of your pieces that you put aside and you're going to glue this one on top of it, matching it up. Okay, so you're gluing that middle fold right on top. Just line this up. When we're done, it's going to look like a scallop circle, but you'll be able to see the little hinge pieces, the little locking mechanism. Now we'll take our other folded one and we're going to glue it on this side, just like so. So again, I told you, I really don't have to have this guy. I could just glue my little car to it, but I want it to be nice and stable and to last a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one to the top. So we're going to close this up with my other scallop circle. And again, we'll just line it up and make it look like one scallop circle, but it has wings basically. So you'll see, I'll open this up so you can see it. So now we end up with these pieces that our pages can slide into. It's so cool. I love this. I don't know who came up with it, but it's brilliant. So now we can put this guy on top of here and it'll be nice and sturdy and it'll lift off the page really good as well. Now, this guy's not perfect. There's a scallop showing just a tiny bit on one side right there. I'm not going to stress about it. If it bothers me too much, I'll snip it off, okay? But I don't think it's going to bother me. All right, so I'm going to apply glue. Now, the biggest thing you have to make sure of is you want to make sure that you have it in the right direction. You have the up and down where the slider goes. You could go ahead and slide this onto your page and then glue these guys down. That would work just great, and you would know it's right. I'm just going to float this in the air and do this like so. Just make sure I got my little slider at the top and press that down. Now, when we go back to our album, when you put this on to give this to somebody, all you need to do is like slide one side in and then slide the other in to make it presentable. But when they receive it, when they open the page, they'll actually slide it off. So see, there's our little closing piece, and this guy will slide up and down. I may come back and add something. I don't know. I feel like they can just grab it and slide it, and it's super cute. It's cute just to have into the album, isn't it? So this will slide up, and then I'm going to put one photo spot in here, and then maybe some stickers or some ephemera. Let's talk about the photo spots. So I showed you this the other day. I want to utilize my photo corner punch. Okay, so we have a couple of these in stock. This one is from Dress My Craft. We have one that's straight and one that's scalloped. What I have done, let me show you this before I get too froggy here. What I've done is I've cut this brown piece 1/4 of an inch larger than my place photo spot. Okay, so this is 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 versus 4 by 6. What I'll do then is I will punch all 4 corners just like so, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll put that behind it so you can see it. See that little photo corner? Then you can place these in. Now, like I said before in the live show that we did, you can weave that in so that it looks like that. And if I were putting this down myself permanently, I would do this. But because the recipient is going to get this and they're going to have to slide the cardstock in from a glued down position, if that makes sense, it's a lot harder to weave. So I'm just going to tuck this in like so on all 4 sides. So this tells them, put a 4 by 6 photo in here and they can use those little corners to do it. In my page, I'm going to glue this down everywhere but here. And that's why I want to go ahead and put that in. You don't want to put glue here because you really need that to slide in. And you want to be very careful here not to glue this so much that they can't slide it in. So what I'm going to do is just glue right where my little photo sheet is not at. And I'm thinking I'm going to leave those edges not glued down. The reason I'm not going to glue those edges down is because if they need to lift them or move them in any way, they can if I have not glued them down. Then I'm going to eyeball center this. Looks pretty good. And then place this down. If you wanted to, you could absolutely glue those corners down. I just don't think I'm going to. If they needed to lift this to tuck, that allows them to do it. But you can tuck those and put a little glue if you want to. So that is how I'm going to be doing my photo mats in this book with the 4x6 ones. So in the future, you'll see these installed, but I won't show you every single one, but that's how I'll do them. Let's put some pretties here. So these are from the cut apart. They were one strip and I cut them apart like this. I think they're really pretty and I think they'd be pretty here, but I really want them to pop. So I cut these pieces 1/4 of an inch larger than they are. And then I'll have that little border around them. And then we just decide where we want them. We could center them like so and have them kind of mimic this piece here. And the best thing to do is just kind of lay that down and look at it. So if you want it to mimic here, I kind of like some movement. So I think I might put one to the top and then put this one to the bottom. So it's not perfect and it kind of goes like that. That's just kind of how I like things, but you do you, okay? So I'm going to glue these down and put them into the page. Isn't that pretty? I like that so much. Clean and simple. All right, let's apply this little guy or put this guy back in. I love that little page. So cute. All right, we can deal with the back in a little bit. Let's put him in the book for now. And I know I want him to be the page we open to. I just think that'll be cute for how we start the whole book. So there's that. So now I want to talk to you about this one. This is called a half page. I decided to do this because of inspiration from the Cottagecore album that we did with 49 and Market. They had in the album these pre-cut pages that looked a lot like this, and they lay over the top of one so you get a little more movement here as well. And remember I told you I didn't really need all of this extra cardstock that we have on these guys. So I'm going to cut this away and turn it into this so that I can have 2 of these in my book. I've already done one, so I've already cut one page away and done that. And let's go ahead and do this second one. So first things first, let's cut that top off. When I created this one, I measured 1/2 inch over and then folded this page over to it. You can do it that way, but I can also score this guy where I need to score it, and that is 3 7/8. So I'm just going to score this really quick, and when I fold this over, it'll give me that 1/2 inch space so I can poke my holes right there. So that's easy enough. But all I'm trying to do is give myself 1/2 inch to be able to put it into the book with the holes. So let's go ahead and crease this one down. And now I have 2 made because I just used that same piece that we cut off the top of this guy. So this piece, in case I confused you, came from here. I cut it away and now we have this. Now what we'll do is we'll line these up. I actually used, I'll show you, I centered this guy on the page like so, just looking at it from the side, and drew those circles so I could punch the holes. That feels pretty good. Lay that down. And trace our circles. I really like these half pages. I think they add just another dimension, something different. So I thought that'd be cool to add in here too. What I love is being able to take ideas from one album to the next and mix them together. And this is a great way to do it. Then we'll just punch our holes. And we can decorate these pages and add them to the book as well. It does create another solid page, but I can probably use this in another way. We'll see how we use that one soon. All right, I'm going to cover these guys. I think I'm going to put a cut apart here and let this be another space for mementos or for journaling or for photos. Who knows what it can be. So these little guys can then go wherever I want them. Like I can put one here to kind of dress this up. But since there's a pocket there, I think I'll flip the page and maybe put it where there's not. So we'll put this little guy in here. And see how it just adds, it's just texture. It's just something different. It's not anything major. It's just another spot for different photos or cut aparts. I'm going to open this up and see where else I can put one. By the way, this is not the final layout because I also have to decide where those tabs are going, but I just wanted to show you how this works. So now we've taken all the pages in here and turned them into something else completely, right? So I think that is super cute. All right, let's do another page I had in mind. Now, this is another page that I talked about on the live stream we did the other day. This is one I'm going to do called a shuffle page, where I'm going to add a flap here, here, and here, and then I'm going to have a permanent photo here, place photo here spot. So let me show you what the plan is for this one. So using that cream paper that I used earlier to make the binder strips out of, I went ahead and cut 3 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. And now I'm going to score 1/2 inch from the bottom on them. So that 1/2 inch is going to be with the flap that glues it onto the page. So I'm going to fold these down and crease them. Then I'm just going to apply them onto the page. And I'm trying to decide if I want to apply them directly to the front or if I want to put the flap to the back and glue it around from the back. I kind of think I want to glue it around from the back side. It'll lay flatter and it'll look cleaner, and I can hide all of that on the back with the paper we put back there. So there'll be a permanent photo here. Okay, this is the plan. We'll see how this goes. Then one gets glued at the bottom, so I'm going to do that one first. And I'm not going to glue it all the way to the edge. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit, probably about 1/4, between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. Just bring that in slightly. Crease that down. Pick up the glue that bled underneath it. So see, we can hide all this in the back when we put the decorator paper on. So there's one flap to the bottom. Let's crease that. Then I want one flap to come up here, and I'm going to bring it down about the same as I did here. Okay, so about the same distance down. And remember, there'll be one underneath here, not a flap, but a photo underneath here. Then, and let me show you where these are. So I've got one going this way, one going this way. Then we're going to put one here at the top. I'm going to close everything back up before I put this one down so I can see where I want to line it up. So we end up with it opens, and it opens. And now I'm thinking I may just use this for a 4x6 and not do that one at the bottom. And maybe this is not a shuffle page, but a weave page. Maybe we just, weave that together. And I will probably add a magnet to close this one down, because a good spot for a magnet would be right here. So let's see what that does. Because of the amount of layers I'm going to be going through, I'm going to go ahead and do a big magnet. And I like these basic grays that are ready to go. It takes me seconds to put these in. So I peel the backer off, and then I stick it to my pokey tool. I'm going to lift this up, and I want to press this down flat and put it about like that. Now, the reason I put it here is I want to make sure I have room to glue my photo mat down around it and hide it nice. So let's peel the backer off of here. Now, here's the trick. When you put in a magnet, flatten everything out or put everything where you want it before you close everything, because if you don't, wherever you seal this down, that's where it's going to stay. So by doing this, everything should stay flatter than if I didn't do that. So now our magnet is installed. Let me lift that up. You can see that it's here. We have plenty of room to glue around it. And then you can see that there's one here. And honestly, even if the person closes it different than we'd planned it, it's still going to work. And I might even like this better, having one up and one down. I kind of think I do. We'll see. All right, I'm going to cover this page, put our photo mats on, and we'll get right back together. Okay, guys, let me show you where I'm at. I've done some work, but it's all stuff we've talked about. I just want to show you where we've landed. Okay, so we have our little slider page here. And when I turn that page over, I just covered and added a photo spot. I've not done anything to the pocket or put anything in it yet, but you can see here, I decided that my tabs were going to come kind of every couple other pages, just kind of sporadic throughout the 3 different tabs. I've got half pages here. I've put some photo spots in here, and pocket not done, things like that. So here's all of this. Now, here's my half pages again. This guy right here, he ended up being super, super big, but let me show you what I ended up doing. So we have the flap, the flap, the flap, and then the photo. I like the page. It might be too much for my album. This album's getting really thick, and I may have to trim some things out. Here's another flap. Here is a little flip out page, and then another flip out page. Now, I feel like this guy's getting thick. I want to kind of pause with what I'm adding to it here. I'll probably go back and add some ephemera here and there, but I feel like that's it on these pages. I don't even believe I could put another page in, because by the time the photos get in and anything goes in the pocket, this guy's super full. The only thing I want to do is on this side. I was trying to think what I wanted to do. And you remember I had this page left over. I'm going to turn this into a pocket here. I think I have enough to be able to do that. And then I had this page left over, which is one of the flip flaps that I took out of here. I'm thinking maybe we turn it into a slider. We cut this off, obviously, and we turn it into a little slider in here. So let's see what that looks like. So I did some math, and this guy needs to end up about 7 inches. The pocket needs to be about 7 inches wide. So let me see what I can make happen with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score 1/2 of an inch here. I'm going to turn it, score 1/2 of an inch again. I'm going to score another 1/2 of an inch in. And then I'm going to cut this to the size I want. Now, I think I want my pocket to be about 3 inches. I'm going to cut this down to 4, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm really not being very specific with this, so this will be kind of the pocket. But I want this to have a little bit of extra space. So I'm going to add another score mark. So where I have that one at 1/2 an inch, I'm going to come and do another score mark 1/8 of an inch in from that one. So let me bring this up and show you. So do you see I've got 2 score marks there? That's going to give me a little bit of space in this pocket to hold our little book. And all I'm doing is moving this over 1/8 of an inch more. All right, so on this side again, I'm going to move to 5/8 instead of 1/2 of an inch and do that little score. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take my scissors, and normally I would just cut this away at an angle. I've hidden my other scissors, so we're going to use another pair. Normally I would just cut this angle away here, but I think what I'm going to do is just cut, and I'll bring this up so you can see it, all of that away where those meet. So do you see how all the score marks are on that little guy, and I left none in that area? That's what I want to do there. So I'm going to do that here again. Then we're going to fold and crease all these lines. Honestly, I'm not really trying to crease them. Let me find my ruler. I find it's helpful on these little bits if you'll lay your ruler down on your score mark and then lift it up. I'm not really trying to crease this. I'm just trying to add a little bit of body to this pocket. Just give it a little bit of lift off the page, a little bit of a deeper pocket. So let's go like this. Let's get this guy pushed in. Then this guy. Same over here. Then I'm going to wrap this around and glue that together in that corner. And before I do anything, I want to do a little dry run here. Because I will probably, because I have this dimension built into this pocket, I'm going to want to cover it with this decorator paper first. It'll be easier. So see, now I have a little, that's perfect. I love that. And I didn't waste that page. All right, let me put some decorator paper here. All right, so I've got it covered with some pretty paper, and I'm going to bring this way. Now, what I want to do is I want to tuck the sides in first and bring this up over. The reason you want to do that, when you're closing these pockets, if you bring this bottom up first, I'm going to get that where you can see it. If I bring that bottom up first, then this over, when I slide things in, it can catch on that. But if I put that underneath, sliding things in and out won't catch there. So I'm going to apply glue right here. Then I'm just going to tuck that in. And a trick for this is to take your bone folder and slide it in there, and you can put some pressure on it that way. Same thing on the other side. So now we can install this into the book. So we'll flip this open like so and put this in. Just put glue on those 3 sides. You could do this with sticky tape for sure. Another tip I like to do is to use my ruler to press down in there when I'm doing these thicker pockets like this. I love that pocket, and because of the nature of this album, it'll live in here really well because it has plenty of room. I'm going to turn it upside down so you can see that. So it's not competing in any way. All right, let's prep that other page to go in. The way we're going to do that is just cut those holes away. This is an easy one, so we've made a booklet super fast. So now this little booklet that we just did can live in this pocket, and you can do it either way. I'll probably do it this way. Get that slid in. And perfect. It's a little tall, but it actually goes right to the edge, so we're good there. Because I do have it, I had to lift this up off the bottom a little bit, but that allows us to use that whole little page without having it over here. Okay, you guys. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a 4th part to this. I didn't want to, but there's still some I want to do to it. So we are going to have to do that. But let's do a little walkthrough to finish up part 3. So here's the front. We've got our little booklet in our pocket there. Plus there's room for more things in there. We have our little slider, which I'll slide away. so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So pretty. And then we turn the page. We've got these pockets we can still do something with. That's a pocket. These are pockets as well. This little flippy page, what we can use for anything. More photos. Love this. More photos, so many photos. Here's a pocket. 2 pockets here, front and back, another flippy page. And I wanted to show you something. When I did this flap, I did not think about this overlapping the ring or the binder part there. So here's what I did. I just took my hole punch and punched a hole in it. So now it just fits right there perfect, and it won't mess up the photo. It doesn't get anywhere near the photo. So if you're thinking, well, you messed that up, yeah, kinda, but I also figured out a way to fix it. So yeah, I did mess it up, but it's all right. All right, and then this side, we've got one more tab with 2 pockets. Photos. This one opens like this. And you can mix these up. You could put these in different ways if you wanted some of these up toward the front or what have you. Okay, I'm not adding a pocket to the back. There is no more room back here. This side is completely full. Honestly, if you do this album, if you get this very same album that I'm using today, I would not use all the pages. I would save some for other projects because you just don't need them. There is way too many in there. I'm studying too hard on that, so let's do it this way. There's just so many pages in here, and you just don't need that many to get a lot of photos. All right, you guys, that is part 3. And unfortunately, I will need a part 4 because I do want to put some pretties in there and show you kind of how that looks. But this is going to be a really nice gift for somebody. I think anybody would love to get this and add all the photos. And honestly, what you could do, if you wanted to get a second photo album, you could do 2, a volume 1 and a volume 2. So they could have wedding in one, and then you could take some of those pages that are too many here, put them in your second album, and have reception in another. That would be a beautiful wedding gift. And it's really not taking that long to do. And I mean, it's substantial. It feels really beautiful. So such a really nice gift. All right, you guys, thanks for being here for all of these 3 parts. We will pick up again in part 4 as soon as possible. I'm not exactly sure when that video will go up, but as soon as possible. And until then, thanks so much for being here. Have a great one. Till next time. Bye now.